yesterday, you had a conversation in English. You understood everything the other person said. You knew exactly what you wanted to say back. But when you opened your mouth, the words just wouldn't come out. You felt stuck. You used simple words, child words, instead of the rich, deep words you actually know inside your head. This is not because you are bad at English. It is not because you lack vocabulary. You have actually passed the beginner stage completely. You can read books, you can watch videos, and you can live your daily life in English. But for some reason, you cannot move forward. You feel like you are standing on a flat mountain, looking at the top, but you cannot find the path to get there. In the next few minutes, I will show you exactly why your English feels stuck in this middle place, and a simple brain science trick that will break you out of it forever. Stay until the end, because the last part of this journey changes everything about how you practice. Hi, welcome back to English Joyride. Here, we don't just teach you English, we teach you how your brain learns English, so you can enjoy the ride without the stress. Every week, we take real brain science and we turn it into simple, easy English you can use today. Today's journey is about a very specific problem that almost every intermediate learner faces. Scientists call it the intermediate plateau. But we can think of it as a comfortable trap. It is the exact moment where your progress slows down and your brain stops growing automatically. More importantly, we will look at how your brain handles memory and focus, showing you the exact shift you need to make to unlock your true fluency. Before we start, click subscribe now. Why now? Because next week, we are going to explain how your brain switches between your native language and English without translating in your head. You definitely don't want to miss that. Let's start by looking at how your brain acts when you learn something completely new. Think back to when you first started learning English. Every single day felt like a massive victory. You learned how to say hello, how to ask for food, and how to count to 10. Your brain was building brand new connections at lightning speed. It felt incredible because the growth was so clear. But then, you reached a point where you could communicate your basic needs. You could survive. And that is exactly where the trap closes. Your brain is a beautiful, highly efficient machine, but it is also very lazy. It always wants to save energy. When you can already get your point across using simple words, your brain stops trying to find better words. It says to itself, why should I spend precious energy looking for a more advanced word when the simple word works just fine? This is the core reason your English gets stuck. Let's make this real. Think about your own experience speaking English lately. You want to describe a movie you saw last weekend. You want to say it was absolutely magnificent, deeply moving, and visually stunning. Those are the words you see when you read or when you watch a movie with subtitles. But when you speak, your brain rushes to the easiest, safest option. You open your mouth and say, it was a very good movie. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that sentence. It is correct. It makes sense. But it doesn't feel like you. It doesn't express your true intelligence or your real personality. You feel like a smaller version of yourself when you speak English. And that is incredibly frustrating. This happens to every single person learning a language at this level all over the world. It is simply how the human brain manages its daily habits. Quick question for you in the comments right now. What is one specific situation where you feel your English is completely stuck? Is it during business meetings? When talking to native speakers? Or when trying to write an email? Type your answer below, because in the very next part, I will reveal the hidden brain mechanism that keeps you inside this comfort zone. To understand why your brain gets stuck, we need to look at how habits are formed in the cerebral cortex. Don't worry. We will keep this very simple and easy to imagine. Your brain has billions of tiny cells called neurons. When you perform an action for the first time, these brain cells talk to each other and form a very thin, weak connection. Think of it like walking through a thick, wild forest. The first time you walk through the trees, there is no path. You have to push branches out of the way, step over rocks, and move very slowly. It takes a huge amount of physical and mental energy. But if you walk that exact same path tomorrow, and the day after that, something changes. The grass bends down. The stones get pushed to the side. The path becomes wider, clearer, and much easier to walk. Eventually, after months of walking, that path becomes a wide, paved road. You can walk down that road while listening to music, thinking about your day, or looking at the sky. You don't have to concentrate anymore because your brain has automated the journey. This is exactly what happens with your English, vocabulary, and grammar. As a beginner, you forced your brain to build thousands of tiny paths, but over time, you used a small group of words over and over again. Words like good, bad, happy, sad, important, and problem, because you used them so many times. Those specific paths became massive, white highways in your brain. Now, whenever you need to speak, your brain looks at the forest of your vocabulary. It sees the deep, advanced words hidden away on the narrow, overgrown paths. Then it sees the bright, wide highway of simple words. Your brain will always choose the highway because it requires zero effort. It is the easiest way to travel from your thoughts to your speech. So here is the big realization. Your brain is not broken, and your memory is not failing you. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is optimizing for efficiency. It is choosing the path of least resistance. The real problem is that you have stopped forcing your brain to step off the highway and explore the narrow paths. If you only ever walk on the highway, the narrow paths will eventually disappear completely under the growing grass. Nature takes them back because you are not using them. To break the plateau, you must learn how to intentionally create traffic on those narrow paths so they can become highways too. But there is a second reason your English remains stuck, and it has to do with how you spend your study time. Once you understand this balance, you will completely change the way you practice every day. Scientists split the learning process into two distinct parts. The first part is input, which we call encoding. The second part is output, which we call retrieval. Encoding is the act of putting information into your brain. When you sit on your couch, turn on an English video, and listen to a teacher, you are encoding. When you open a book and highlight a beautiful new vocabulary word with a bright yellow marker, you are encoding. Retrieval is the exact opposite. It is the act of pulling information out of your brain and using it in the real world. When you try to explain a complex idea to a friend, or when you write your thoughts in a journal using memory alone, you are practicing retrieval. Here is the ultimate truth of the intermediate plateau. Input is incredibly easy, but output is very hard. At your current level, you can spend hours consuming English input. You watch Netflix shows, listen to podcasts, and read articles effortlessly. It feels like you are learning because your brain understands everything. It feels comfortable, relaxing, and fun. But because you understand it so easily, your brain doesn't feel any stress or challenge. It treats that information as low priority, like a tool you keep at the bottom of a dark box. You know you have the tool, but when you actually need it, you can't find it anywhere. Most intermediate learners spend 90% of their time on passive input and only 10% on active output. They consume massive amounts of content, but they rarely force their brain to pull words out from the deep parts of their memory. This creates a massive gap between your passive understanding and your active speaking skills. You become a master listener, but a stuck speaker. It is a simple law of brain science. Understanding builds weak connections, but active usage builds strong, unbreakable connections. Every single time you force your brain to retrieve a word, you send a powerful lightning bolt through that connection, telling your brain that this information is absolutely vital for your survival. Let's pause for a quick moment to connect this to your own life. Think about how much time you spend watching English videos compared to how much time you spend actually speaking or writing down your own sentences. Tell me honestly in the comments section, do you spend more time consuming English or creating English? I read every single comment, and I want to see where you are spending your mental energy. So, how do we fix this comfort trap? How do we force the brain to grow when it doesn't want to? The answer is a brilliant training method called deliberate discomfort, powered by a psychological concept known as desirable difficulties. The idea is simple. To make your brain stronger, you must make the practice deliberately challenging, but just hard enough that you can still succeed. If you keep doing what is easy, your skills will stay exactly where they are. To implement this, we use a beautiful technique called target vocabulary replacement. This means you actively choose the simple words you always use, the ones on your brain's highway, and you intentionally block them from your speech. For example, instead of allowing yourself to say the word important, you force your brain to find an alternative for, you could say crucial, essential, vital, or significant. By closing the highway, you force your brain to send the search party down the narrow paths to find the hidden vocabulary. This simple act of searching causes a mild form of mental friction. That friction is the exact feeling of your brain growing. It is the feeling of new connections getting wider and stronger. Here is a simple Highly practical routine you can follow every day to break through the plateau. You don't need any expensive classes, and you don't need to live in an English-speaking country. You just need 15 minutes of focused, active focus every day. First, select a short video or an article on a topic that truly fascinates you. It could be about history, science, human psychology, or space exploration. Spend 5 minutes engaging with this content passively. Enjoy it. Look at the vocabulary and focus on how the ideas connect. This is your input phase, your encoding step. Second, close the video or put away the article completely. Do not look at your notes. Take a deep breath and set the timer on your phone for exactly 5 minutes. Now, speak out loud to yourself in an empty room or write down a summary of what you just learned entirely from memory. You must try to explain the main concepts using the new, advanced words you notice in the content. During these 5 minutes, your mind will definitely go blank at least 3 times. You will feel a strong urge to open the article to check the spelling or the exact phrase. Do not do it. Resist the temptation, that moment of struggle, where your brain is desperately searching for the missing word, is the golden moment of learning. That is active recall in its purest, most powerful form. When you force your brain to look for the word before checking the answer, you are digging a deep groove into your memory. When you finally check the answer later, the word will snap into place like a perfect puzzle piece, and it will stay there much longer. Third, take the new words you discovered and apply the rule of spaced repetition. Do not try to learn 50 words at the same time. That is called cramming, and it completely fails because it creates a sharp drop in your long-term memory curve. Instead, take just 3 to 5 advanced words per day. Review them on day 2, day 4, day 7, and day 15. But remember, when you review them on those days, do not just look at them on the list. Cover the definition. Try to remember what they mean and say them out loud in a brand new sentence that relates directly to your personal life. When you say a word out loud, you are involving your physical body in the learning process. Your brain has to coordinate your breath, your vocal cords, your tongue, and your lips to create the specific rhythm and sound of that English word. This physical movement creates a completely different kind of memory in your brain, known as muscle memory. It is the reason why you can ride a bicycle after 10 years of not touching one. Your body simply remembers the motion. Language is exactly the same. True fluency is not just an intellectual game inside your head. It is a physical habit that lives in your mouth and your voice. I want you to hold on to one powerful thought before we finish the day. Feeling stuck at the intermediate level is not a sign of failure. It is actually a sign of incredible success. It means you have successfully built a strong foundation. You have created the highways. Now, your only task is to build the exits, explore the side roads, and enjoy the deeper journey of expression. Every single fluent English speaker you admire today was once stuck exactly where you are right now. They felt the same frustration. They used the same simple words. And they made the same mistakes. The only difference is that they didn't let the comfort trap stop them from moving forward. They leaned into the discomfort. They practiced active retrieval every day, and they kept pushing through the fog until the path became completely clear. Let's quickly review the major milestones of our journey today. First, the intermediate plateau happens because your brain loves saving energy and naturally relies on safe, simple highways of vocabulary. Second, to break this habit, you must shift your balance from passive input to active retrieval, forcing your brain to search for words from tight memory. Third, practicing active recall by speaking out loud and summarizing content from memory creates desirable difficulties that spark real, long-term fluency. Here is your simple, clear action plan for the next 24 hours. Pick one topic you genuinely love. Spend just 5 minutes reading or watching something about it in English. Then, close your eyes, turn away from the screen, and speak out loud to the room for 3 minutes, explaining what you just learned without using the words good, bad, or interesting. Force your brain to find better, deeper words to fill the space. That is it. A small, simple, highly consistent habit that takes less than 10 minutes, but will completely change the structure of your brain over time. You absolutely do not need a perfect genetic memory to become fluent in English. You just need the right system. And now you hold that system in your hands. If this video helped you understand your own brain and your learning journey a little bit better, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more simple, practical science about mastering English. Next week, we are going to dive even deeper into the human mind to look at the exact psychological triggers that cause you to freeze up when speaking to native speakers, and how to build unshakable confidence. You can watch that next step of your journey right here. Keep exploring, keep embracing the challenge, and enjoy every single step of your joyride.